All right, so it's like 25 degrees out tonight, but the sky got nice and clear. Don't know if I'll run into any problems with high ice clouds. It's probable, but visually it looks really, really good right now. If I look at the moon, I don't see any haze around it, and that's usually a good sign. So anyway, I'm going to open up the AFO and get a session started. And I am shooting the Flaming Star Nebula. So we're going to get on it. All right, so I got the AFO all peeled back and got my cover off and everything's fired up, and I just got Nina started and connected to everything, and I started a 3-point polar line. So I'm going to switch over to that view and we'll get this. It's really close right now, but I'm kind of picky, so it's worth it to just go out and make a couple tweaks. So let's go through a 3-point polar line real quick, and then I'll come back in after that and we'll get a session started. All right, I'm actually walking out to the scope. And I just want to tweak the altitude here just a little bit. I don't know if you see this, I can't actually see it, but oop, I did forget something. That's gonna mess stuff up. Hate it when I do that. I left my desiccant bag hanging, so that threw it out of balance. Let's see if that updates here. All right, actually improved. So let's go down just a little bit. This is where I'll probably end up going past it. Oh, back up 18, okay. See what it does here. Okay, we're up 12. It's really close. We'll go up just a little bit. All right, that's good. And let's mess with going to the east just a little bit. This one's usually really picky. Okay, I like it. Let's go with that. All right, I'm heading back in here. So yeah, that went good. So I need to go ahead and get the scope. I'll probably park it. Need to do a quick check on the focus. Sorry it's so dark here. Get brighter in just a second. There we go. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get set up for a session. All right, back over here in Nina, and we'll go ahead and get a session started. And so let's see where I want to start. I kind of want to do a quick I'm going to park first. That's what I'm going to do. Oop. Yeah, okay, so park. And then I want to do a quick autofocus run just to see where we're at. As soon as that's done parking. All right, now we're parked. I'll go ahead and start an autofocus run. Looks fairly decent to begin with here. Shouldn't be too far off. Glasses are fogging up. Let's see, our starting HFR was at 205. Minus 3 degrees centigrade out here. All right, and so we ended up at around 1.92. So that's good. We can get started. We will head over to sequencer, and I have a target already. So advanced sequencer, and I'm going to load. A flaming star nebula. We'll just give this a quick once over. Yeah, let me walk through it with you. So in my global start area, I'm going to unpark the scope, and then I'm going to make sure my filter is on my HAO3. I will wait for altitude. We should be good. Yeah, we're fine. We're currently now. Yeah, I got a late start tonight because really it was just cloudy and snowy earlier, so it just recently cleared up. Yeah, so altitude's greater. We're good there, so that's just going to go ahead, and it's past this altitude, so that'll go ahead and start immediately. I'm going to set my camera to negative 10 degrees, and then I'm going to slew and center to the coordinates that I'm working with, and then I'm going to start tracking, and we'll run another autofocus here. Since I'm going to be slewing, I'll do another autofocus over there. We'll start guiding, and then I'll start up robocopy. And then, yeah, so flaming star set up in here within my loop area for, well, actually the triggers for the loop are going to autofocus after 60 minutes. I'll dither after every 5 exposures. And if I have any failures, I'll email myself. If guiding fails, it'll try to restore guiding, and then a meridian flip if we're not past it already. I think we're okay. And then we're going to loop until the altitude is below, which I've got that figured out over here at about, that's 22. And so I have this set about 22. I think I end up with like one image at the end that has some tree branches in it, which is fine. And then we're going to take exposures at 300 seconds. And in the end, when this is done, which should be about 122, 120 in that area AM, we'll go ahead and warm up the camera and park the scope, and I will stop the guiding, and we'll stop robocopy, and I'll send myself an email that the sequence completed. So I think we can go ahead and click the start button. And so it's going to go ahead and run through. All right, we slewed it centered, and we're plate solving now. Getting it lined up. Cool, we're lined up, and we'll do that other autofocus run here. I just like to do that after I slew, just to make sure. All right, that was a nice looking curve, and we came in the same HFR as we were. So that all looks good. And so let's see, we are starting guiding. All right, and we have begun our first capture. So what I want to do, I want to go back over, I guess let's check in on guiding first and make sure we're starting off okay, and hopefully don't have any problems. And it looks like it's settling in okay. 0.39 right now, I'll take it. So I've actually been getting really good guiding recently. It's been under 0.5 for me, which has been great. This mount really, it seems to really love cold weather. I think it's doing better in cold weather than it does in warm. That might have something to do with the grease, I wonder. All right, so if I go back over to equipment, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm looking for my some options. Okay, yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, so I'm currently running an autofocus step size of 125, and I'm running a backlash of 425. That's kind of what I thought. I didn't recall if I was 140 on the step size or 125. Those are the two that I had been running. 125 has actually smoothed things out a bit for me, and I think it's been running pretty good. So, and been using hyperbolic, which seems to be working fine for me. So, nothing to change here. So I'm going to let this image capture. It's going to be a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pause, and then I'll be back once we get the capture, and we'll see if we have a decent night of seeing here ahead of us. So we will see. All right, so we got our first image in, and this looks really good. I don't think I see any halos. Go ahead and move in a little bit here. Oops. Maybe just slightly on these bigger ones. Let's take a look at aberration. I do have on the bottom, I think it's just on the bottom, a little bit of elongation. And I have always had this. I have a field flattener in there. And I have always felt like that it's a little bit of tilt in the camera. It's a ASI 533. It doesn't have a built-in tilt adjuster. Maybe it's a little elongated up here at the top too. I mean, it's not bad, and it actually doesn't cause me any problems, and I don't really mind it too much because I do star reduction and stuff, and I end up not even really noticing any of this. But here in the raw capture, I always kind of notice it. I think there's room for improvement here, and this could also be backspacing a little bit. Since I see it at the top here as well as the bottom with the filter in there, perhaps I need to put a shim in. I'm not sure if that changes between filters. It'd be worth experimenting sometime and seeing. But like I said, this doesn't really bother me. It's kind of interesting to look at though. I usually don't crop very much really with, I do like an SPF and select stars and then do a deconvolution. And then when I bring stars back in, I don't bring them in near as heavily as what you see here anyway, just because I Don't want them to be crowding the nebula. Yeah, anyway, I think that this is going to turn out pretty good. I'm looking forward to doing some stacking and processing and seeing what I actually can pull out of this. So anyway, I am going to leave you here at this point, and then we will get back together in the morning and see how this did. I have another full night, and then I was thinking that we would go through a stacking process, and we'll just work on processing this image next. So anyway, I will talk to you tomorrow morning. High five. High five. Hey, good morning. I don't do a whole lot of talking before coffee, but we have a very beautiful and cold morning. It's -15 Celsius, I think, like 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And so I won't be out here too long. I need to get my calibration frames done. Sun's coming up, and it gets a little bit more difficult if I sleep in. So just because trying to get the ADU right in a bright sky, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to get my flats mask on and then get back inside, and then we'll start doing some calibration frames. I need to get flats and biases, and then we'll look at processing. It's a beautiful morning. If you haven't seen my little flats mask, I had a DIY video on this, And this thing has been great. I think it's 6 months in use now and works out perfectly. Brr. All right, I'm going to finish up this coffee, get inside here in a sec, and then we'll start on some calibration frames. All right, good morning. I am still waking up, and I haven't even had a chance to look at my session from last night yet. Things were going good when I went to bed, so hopefully it carried on, and I got a decent night's session of images here to work with today. So anyway, let's cross our fingers on that. We'll go over and let's take a look and see what we got, I guess, to begin with, and then I am set up to get my my flats, so we'll get the flats going, and then I got to get biases, and then get everything together, and then I can start on doing some stacking. So we'll get into that, and I'll be waking up along the way here. So give me a few. All right, let's head over and get connected to the melee, and we'll see what happens. All right. Looks like we were getting into our morning a little bit here. No, I wonder if we had some clouds. Let me brighten up my screen a little bit. No, I think that's okay. Looks like we had some changing scene conditions throughout the night there. There's some high clouds I can kind of see if I skip around. I do think we got some high clouds in last night. When I get into blinking through this, we can see. Hopefully, I've got a decent amount of good images. So, looks like our guiding was pretty decent. Finished up at 0.75, but looking along here, it looks like it was doing okay. This is probably dead at this point, and the scope had already parked and everything finished up. So, all right, well, the first thing I need to do is get the camera cooler warmed up. So let's do that. It's actually, the sensor temperature is -20 right now, so doesn't matter. That is not going to cool off anymore. And yeah, so we'll go into the Flats Wizard. So the way that I have the Flats Wizard set up is I like to take 50, and then I have this set for an ADU range for tolerance between 29,491 and 30,045 with a 10% variance, and so with the target being 50%. And I need to give this a name. Let me go copy and paste here so I don't misspell something. All right. And we'll change the target name here so the flats go into the correct folder. And we can just go ahead and get started. Let me check. It is bright out, so max exposure 1.5. That's probably too high. 0.1. Let's give that a try. And yes, Rich, I do regret making fun of your dust motes. Okay, it looks like I'm in range. That's working. So I am 4 out of 50 right now. This will take a little bit, and we're going to get a bunch of warnings in the process. I'm going to let this run, and then I'll be back. All right, the flats are they're a little over halfway done. I think I'll go ahead and head over into my sequence, and we'll get set up for biases. Except all these are going to be in my way. So last night's session, completed session. And yeah, I think I ran through this with you. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete this. And then I've got a bias template here that I'll drag in. And then I do want to add, let's see, where our camera's already warmed, but I want to start, I can't remember if I have it in here. Let's see. We got robocopies. Yeah, robocopy starts right there. Camera's already warmed. So yeah, that should be good. I just need to update the target name on this. And it's still on my clipboard. All right, that should be ready to go. We've got another 16 or 17 flats or whatever to go here. So I'll be back when those are done, and then we'll get set up for bias. All right, so flats just finished up. Like to just take a quick look at the session. And so yeah, we've got our flats, and we should have 50, which we do, so we're good on that. All right, and I need to head out and change out the lens cap, and then we will run our bias sequence. One thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a warm camera instruction just to turn that off. And then I'm also going to bump up the robocopy stop to 600 seconds because I want to make sure I get all the flats and biases copied over during this session automatically. So sometimes I have to go in and pick up some missing ones and manually copy them over if I don't give this enough time. So, all right, we'll head out and switch lens covers. I leave this outside so that it stays at the same temperature. I don't know if that's anything to actually be concerned about, but I thought if I put a warm cap on there, it could mess with the temperature inside the dew shield. Anyway, I just want to remove this. Swap out the cap. Alright, we'll head back in. All right, so IC405, the flaming star nebula, I think it's about 1,500 light years away, and it's about 2.5 light years across. It's both an emission and reflection nebula, and I came across this target in Stellarium because I was just sort of hunting for something that was gave me enough time in the night sky and had enough elevation. I hadn't shot this one before, and so anyway, it looked like it could be promising with my setup, and I did some test shots with it, and they look pretty good. It's a little bit faint, so it's not very bright. I don't know what it's. I think its apparent magnitude is maybe around 6 or something like that. So I mean, it's pretty bright. It's bright enough, but anyway, we'll see how this goes. I'm still waiting on my robocopy to complete here and get my files and wrapping up my coffee. So as soon as that gets done, then we will have a look at how we did last night. All right, I got the cap back on. Should be set up here to go ahead and start. Quick run through on my bias template. We've actually got obviously the target. If you don't update this name here, you won't get your biases in the right directory. So if you have ever wondered about that, and I did, it's not completely evident that that's there. So I had to do that a couple times before I learned out where exactly I needed to get that name in. So I just give myself some reminders here, making sure the source is good and reminding me to make sure the lens cap is on, which I have forgot before, and this does help, so it doesn't hurt to have it in there. But anyway, I just give myself a little message box to make sure I remember to do that. And if I get any errors, it'll email me in case I walk away or something. My bias exposure setup, I have 50 running at 0.032 seconds for biases with the same settings as my sequence from last night. And then I'll do a robocopy stop. Like I said, I'm giving the 600 seconds to see if I can actually get all of the flats and the biases that I'm taking here time to copy over. So we'll go ahead and get this rolling. So source and destination are configured, and the lens cap is on. And so this won't take long at all. Go over and see how they're doing. A lot of people might cover up their scope. I don't have any light leaks. I check this every morning. I have not had any problems with just putting the lens cap on, even though the sun's shining on the scope. It doesn't leak any light anywhere. So, and I've compared it to if I do have it covered up, and I haven't had any problems with my biases doing this. So I'm fortunate enough to have a pretty light, tight system. Robocopy is running, and that 50 completed, so we're actually in the robocopy stop now. So, hey, I'll be back in about 10 minutes, and then we'll take a look and make sure that we got all of our biases, and from there, if everything is transferred over from the mini PC here to this machine, and at which point we should be ready to go. All right, robocopy finished, and I believe our sequence is all the way completed here. Let's go over to the file system, and if I go to my remote folder for Flaming Star for last night and this morning, so I've got my lights. I don't have my biases in here yet, so it looks like I have been noticing this. I don't know if I need to wait longer, if I need to refresh. So yeah, I don't see my biases having transferred over, so I wonder if my flat's even finished. Yeah, I've got 50 flats that transferred. Yeah, that's a little bit of a mystery to me. If you have any ideas here on why that is happening, yeah, leave it for me down in the comments, because I would like to figure out why these biases. I mean, sometimes I'm actually seeing them in there, and most of the time it's not the full set of 50, and just because it looked like robocopy timed out before it completed doing the transfer. I guess what I could do is I could just do like another sequence. I haven't done this before, but I'm just going to do like another sequence real quick here. Start robocopy, and then I'll give it another 5 minutes, and let's see if it copies anything over. So I can kill that, and then yeah, and we'll just start robocopy, and then stop robocopy, and I'll give that another, I don't know, 5 minutes. Let's see if it copies any over, and we'll just make sure the distribution folder's set up. All right, that's good. Yeah, let's give that a try. I'll come back in just a minute. Otherwise, I'm going to manually transfer these over if this doesn't work. All right, well, robocopy is still running, but I just had a check, and all the biases already, come on, get out of the way. Already copied over, so I got my 50 biases in here, and so we're good. And that's that's in the nightly file copy. So those are actually going to be in on my client machine here now. So if I go over and have a look, I've got all my lights. What did we actually get last night? 51 minus whatever I throw out, and then we've got the 50 flats and the 50 biases. All right, cool. So I've got all of my lights and calibration frames are copied over, and looks like this has just about completed. I'll just let it run out, and let's see, I think that's all that I need to do. I can go ahead and shut down here. I think I am done. So we'll disconnect, and I can close Nina. I usually look for updates at this point, and if I have any updates to install, I do them now, but nothing there. We can get rid of PhD2. I usually leave the Windows machine running. That's worked best for me, and it's the fastest to get back up and running for the next session. I restart it every once in a while. can go ahead and disconnect. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go over and do some blink in Siril, but I'm going to take a quick break and get a little bite to eat for breakfast, and then when I get back, we will jump into process. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is go in here and we'll get my sessions. So I've got a couple nights here. I don't know if it's enough yet. That we're going to find out. It looks like we're going to have clear skies tonight, so I may do another session. So the final image that I have here today may not necessarily be my actual final. This is the nightly file copy location where Nina actually sends over the session images and calibration frames. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this for now. I'm going to leave it in there as a backup. And I'm going to paste that into my astrophotography section. So then the Flaming Star Nebula, I've got bias flats and lights, and these lights are 300 seconds for both of my sessions. So I'm going to go over to my dark library and grab my 300-second master dark. Come back in and we'll make a dark folder. And I'll just paste that in. I like to keep these in each session, so I know it's a little bit of duplicate, but I don't mind too much. All right, and so we'll need those later on stacking, but the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and run through all the lights and basically go through a blinking process, which I do in Siril. So I'm in Siril 1.2.1. The first thing I'll do is set my home directory. So we'll go to the Flaming Star Nebula here. I'm going to, actually one thing I forgot. So I'm going to rename my lights folder. I just call it lights.org for original. Create a new folder, call it lights. I don't worry about the naming convention for Siril because I'll be working in Sirilic and it doesn't care. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Rename this one. And create a new light directory. All right, now we're set up. So then in here, on the first session, I want to go ahead and select the light directory as my home directory so that my sequence can get put into the correct location. And I'll start with a conversion. So we're gonna add from the lights originals folder, all of them. I'll be deleting the all the conversion stuff here in the next step, so it doesn't matter. I just name it CONV, symbolic links, and we'll go ahead and convert. And so to see what that did, that basically just created all of our, CONB, I missed that. Anyway, that doesn't matter either. So all of our conversion files are in the home directory, which is light. And at this point, you probably end up on histogram. So let's look at histogram. And then we'll bring this up, and I'm going to run through each one here, and we'll take a look. And I like to just sort of do a quick pass and get a feel for how things are looking. I'm also looking for anything moving around here. We find anything, maybe an asteroid or something. I got to look on first pass, or I got to say on first pass, this all looked really good. I don't see any like clouds coming through. I'll go a little slower. I'm kind of looking for detail in the nebulosity and also the quality of the stars and if we see any halos coming in from high clouds. And I'm also interested in these last ones, but these sessions are ending around, I don't know, 1:45 a.m. or something like that. So I don't have like the twilight or anything to be concerned with. And I shouldn't, the only thing I want to make sure I didn't get into trees before it ended, which this looks good. So I think we can keep all of these, in which case I don't really need to do the sequence. So I'll just close that. Let's go to my file system. So since we're not going to use any of these, we'll just delete this. And I'll rename this back to light. I think I might put like a QA on there so that I know that I have checked those. All right, let's do the same thing with last night's session. So I'll change my home directory again to the lights of that session. And then we'll go to conversions, delete the old one. Let's add these in. And we'll convert. And let's have a look at these. Again, I'll go through quickly just so I can get an overview. You can see some clouds in there. And I'm pretty sure I saw some clouds coming through later on in this session. Like that one there, I think I'll get rid of. And I like to flip back and forth between. Okay, that looks like that was just a quick set of clouds that came through. I think overall this is pretty good. I think I'm going to jump like from the beginning of the session to the end here. Yeah, we can definitely see a quality difference there. I think that so 43. That's not bad. I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of this last set here. They're okay, but I don't think there's any reason to keep them in there and kind of reduce the detail in the stack. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. So we'll keep like, what, 42 of these out of 51. And we'll go ahead and run this sequence, and we'll call it Flaming Nebula or Flaming Star QA, and export that sequence. So these are going to be the ones that we actually use then. So if we go look here in our lights, I can delete our conversions. And we're left with the lights that I want to stack. All right, so with that we can head over to Sirilic and let's do the stacking. This will open up a new instance of Siril when I get going here. So we'll do we'll create a new project, which will be the Flaming Star. And we've got 2 sessions, and we're using Duo HA03. All right, and then for the first session, files, we'll go ahead and load up our lights. And then our biases. Our dark master. And flats. And properties then. We'll do bias subtract from flats. That'll be applied to all sessions. And then I like to verify that I got that right. So biases master comes out of flats, gets summed in the stack, and then flat master's created, dark master, and these are, that looks good. So we just need to add files for the second night session. So we'll drag all of our lights in here. And again, our biases, dark master, and our flats. And as I was mentioning, so the flat, that's sticky between all of the night sessions. All right, so for here, we can go ahead and build our directories and copy and link the images. That just takes a second. And then we'll go ahead and build and run the Siril script here to go ahead and stack these. This might take a minute or two. All right, so that stack completed. We can maybe get an auto stack, see what we're looking at. Histogram, looks like we've got some decent data there. Kind of excited to see what this turns out to, what we can pull out of this. I may not have enough data yet for detail, but we'll see. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is get our files prepared. So I'll open up Graxpert and we'll do our background extraction on our 2 files. All right, we'll load up our images. So let's find those HA. Actually, those are going to be down here in my working directory for Flaming Star. So doesn't that look nice? I think there's good chance I've got what we need here, so we will see. We'll calculate background on that. I always kind of like to look at the original and processed. So we'll go ahead and save the process, and I'll put that over into here. I'll create a processing directory so I can keep things as organized as possible, and we'll put that HA in there, and I'll go ahead and load up the 03 image. All right, and we'll go ahead and save that. We'll put that over in our processing directory. All right, so I've got my 2 background extracted files. We'll reset our home directory to my processing directory. And then I've been using the RGB compositing lately. I mentioned this earlier just because it's just simple, and I like the HOO, and I don't have any problems with rotation or anything like that, so it works good for me. And I guess we can maybe select some stars for a line. All right. And if we look at RGB, so yeah, we got a lot. We've got to work on this. This is perfectly normal. So from here, let me look at histogram again. I think I'll go ahead and do a crop at this point and get rid of a little bit of stacking artifacts that I've got on the sides here, which you can see down this right edge here. So we'll just go just inside of that. Just very slight at the bottom. I think since I'm cutting this star off here, we'll take everything we can get. This looks pretty good up there. Double check the left side. Yeah, that looks good. I'll go ahead and crop that. All right. And then I'm going to do let's see what a photometric color calibration does for us. And then I always like to compare, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a standard color calibration. I've honestly been ending up favoring this over. I've been favoring the regular color calibration over the photometric for some reason. We'll use that. Neutralize the background. I'll get this area here. Let's apply that and see. Yeah, I just like this because it doesn't seem to crush all of the other color in this like the photometric does. So now if I can do a green removal, and I think we have a good start there. And at this point is when I like to do my star processing. So I'll go ahead and do a star removal. Now we have not stretched this yet, so because we're in auto stretch, so we're still linear. So we want to give this a little bit of a pre-stretch. That helps out StarNet, and we'll execute that. This will take a little bit, so I'll be back. All right, we now have our starless, so we can look at that in auto stretch. Hey, that's beautiful. So I think we can work with that. And gosh, it looks like it's got really good detail. I don't know how the noise is here. Maybe Let's step in. It has quite a bit of noise. So I may need to get more data just for that. But let's go ahead and continue processing and see how that actually ends up in my own stretching. But gosh, I love how this looks. So, all right, we'll go over into, well, let me see what logarithm. Boy, that's going to be pretty. All right, so in linear, let's give this a stretch. We're going to do a bunch of small steps on this, I think. Let's see, I put a symmetry point up here. I don't think we really have highlight protection to be worried about too much. We'll just keep working this. I think we're going to need to do a black point now and get this pushed back down. All right, let's go back over to a regular stretch. Set a symmetry point. Let's see if we can start pulling this apart. There we go. All right, let's do it again. All right, I'm going to switch over to human weighted luminance. I need to do some color balancing, I can see. All right, let's go to an even weighted luminance. Let's start getting this to where we want it. All right, we'll go back to an independent channel values. Let's see what happens if we bump up just the blues. And then just the greens. Okay, that should be more balanced, although I've got something happening over here on the side. I think I'm going to back out of that. I just noticed that. Okay, there. Yeah. What do I have there? It was like a gradient that came in on the right hand side. I'm going to start again from here. I'll keep a better eye on that. Let's see if we can get any more out of black point. Okay, I think I'm done in here. I don't know what's happening on this side with that gradient. That might need to revisit what was going on in Graxpert. So a standard histogram transformation. I think maybe I'm going to bring the red down. A little bit more. Okay, looks like we're pretty well lined up there. You know, I think I'm not digging this at all. So I'm going to go back. Okay, so here's at our crop point. And that was our background neutralization. And then our color calibration. I can see that there now at that point. Did we have it before? Not really. It's still there a little bit. What do you think? I'm thinking that this needs more gradient work. All right, I'm going to take a quick break and think about this. I might go back into Graxpert and basically start over from that point. Another option is to, I guess we could try it. Let's do a background extraction here. I haven't used this in a while, but let's see where we're at with this. Okay. Let's get rid of these points here on the grid that are in the nebulosity. We don't need a whole ton of points. All right, and then maybe get rid of that. Make sure we've got this side covered where I see the problem. Let's try and compute background on that. All right, that looks like that helped. So let's see. Let's move forward from this point then. So let's do a star extraction from here. I think actually, let me auto stretch. Let's check our color calibration. Okay, background neutralization. Select this. Use that selection and apply. Okay. And then remove green noise. All right, from what I can tell, that looks a lot better down this side here. So we will go ahead and go with that. And then I will go ahead and run the star processing again. And we'll pre-stretch because we are still in linear. And actually, let me clean something up here. We've got our starless and star mass that we created before. I'm going to delete those. All right, let's do it again. I'll be back when this is done. Okay, so now that star processing is completed, and yeah, so we're looking pretty good. I think we're clear along the side here. We'll find out. And so let's start over here. We'll go up to generalized hyperbolic stretch. Let's see what we get. I think I'll just do some preliminary stretches here to get this moved over. I'll do a black point, pull that back down, and then back to generalized. Yeah, now we're stretching. Let's give this a little bit more. All right, human weighted. Yeah, that's not going to be much. Let's see if I can get anything else out of black point. Nope. All right, I think that's as far as I want to go here. And let's have a look at standard histogram transformation. I do want to see if we can line these up a little bit, so I think I'll actually pull the red and the blue down just a little bit. Oops, reset. And then I'll maybe bring the red up just a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can pull this up. I don't think I have much more I can do here for black point without clipping, so yeah. All right, I think I need to stop there because the background is filling in. I think this is a lot of really lighter nebulosity in here though, so it might work out. Let's do a little bit of saturation. Let's just look at a global first and see what kind of stuff that we've got, like right off the bat, just to overdo it. So reds are obviously predominant here. We'll go into pinks. I think I'll do one more of the pink because magenta pink, I thought I saw just a really nice little subtle change in that. All right, and then now I do see some blue data in here, cyan. So let's see if we can pull that up. Yeah. We are really noisy though still. Let's go to the cyans. Keep working on that a bit. Maybe that blue again. And one more on the cyans. Oftentimes with the orange brown, let's see what happens if I pull it down. Yeah, you know, oh, that went all the way up. If I pull that all the way down, yeah, we're going kind of purple there. I think enhancing that a little bit looks pretty good. Maybe down just a little bit. Main thing is not to go overboard and not to oversaturate. So now we can bring these reds up a little bit. I don't think this is going to be too big. I think, yeah, if I went full on this, it's overblown. But maybe like right in there. Looks pretty good. All right, at this point, I think I will prepare to head over to Photoshop with this and work on some adjustment layers for specific colors and stuff like that in here. So let's do that. I think I'll save this now as my PS Starless, just so I know where I was, and we'll do it as a fit, and then I'll also save it here. So that's a 32, and I'll also save it as a TIFF, which is what we'll actually take over into Photoshop as a 16-bit. And we'll go into processing. All right, so let's see what we can do with this here. So I'll go ahead and duplicate layer. All right, and on that we'll add some adjustment layers, and I'll start with black. Let's see where we can get with this. Yeah, I think these areas in here are actually just a lot lower level nebulosity. I don't think I want to lose that with the black point here. So we're going to find kind of a happy medium area to keep that in there. Okay. We'll do a new adjustment layer. I think this one will work on the blues and see what that does. Anything? So let's see, cyans. I think I will. Not seeing a whole lot of change there. I think we'll change this to cyan. Yeah, there we go. It's bringing in a lot of noise there. All right, we'll move on. Yeah, definitely not happy with the noise. I think I need more time and data on this one. And we'll do reds on this. All right. Let's see. I want to go back to my black layer. All right, let's call that good. Let's go ahead and we'll merge these. And let's have a look into camera raw. All right. I think it's pretty noisy, but for our processing today, I think the solution to that is actually more data. So, we'll just run with what we have here. And so I will go ahead and we can just leave the layers in there, and I'll go ahead and save this back. We can do some more denoising with wavelets back in Siril, so we'll have a look at that. So here's our before we went to Photoshop, and then I'll go ahead and we'll open up that TIFF we just did so we can see the transformation. And then I'm going to save this now back to a 32-bit fits image. I guess we can just overwrite that one that we had. Let's see. All right, so I'll save that back to a 32-bit fits image. And now we can go ahead and I think I'll do some wavelets on here and see if I can smooth this out a little bit just for the purposes of this demo. I don't think I'm digging where that's going, so I'm not going to apply wavelets. I think I'll just go with where we're at here. This will be a work in progress. We'll need to add more data to it. So let's go ahead and do a star recomposition. We'll see how the stars look coming back in. I don't know if I need to work on them or not. I wonder if I'm running out of storage. 172 gigabytes available. Should be okay. Siril's running kind of slow here. All right, there we go. We'll bring our star mask back in. I feel like I need to restart Siril here. This is it's not running really good right now. Okay, that actually is not too bad on the stars. Let's bring the black point up just a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and apply. All right. And then just out of curiosity, I just want to remove a little bit of green here and see what it does. So let's do this one more time and just see what impact it has. I think that did pretty good around that star right there. All right, I'm going to call this a good work in progress, but definitely not final. I'm going to save this off as a JPEG. And I'm going to call this WIP. And we will save it. All right, and we'll call it good for this session. That basically was a full walkthrough of what I'd be doing. But you know, I'm at a point right here where I just feel like we've got a lot of noise, and I need to get more detail. Need some more data to get the signal up and work on those areas. So yeah, obviously this isn't what I would want to release as a final image, but I think for a work in progress and for the purposes of this video, this is a pretty good example, and maybe give you an idea of, you know, what you can consider work in progress and how to assess when you're ready for final or not. And in this case, obviously, I'm not quite there yet, so I'll keep working on it. All right, so yeah, definitely not quite there yet with this image. It's a work in progress. That's the way it goes. So I will keep getting data on it, and I didn't actually expect that this was going to be final anyway with just 2 nights, knowing my skies. So we will keep working on this, and then keep your eyes peeled for a final, and hopefully I'll get 1 or 2 more nights of data in this, and that'll end up being enough for signal to noise ratio to be sufficient to clean this image up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this processing video, and you found it helpful in some ways. Always feel free to comment on your ideas, you know, and let me know if you have some thoughts on how I could approach different things in this image. Had a weird Graxpert thing there with the that I corrected with the Siril background extraction. I think that's the first time I've had to do that, and it just might be the nature of this particular target and the conditions that I was in, but I don't think that was light pollution. With the filters that I'm using, I haven't had any problems like that. It wasn't the moon, it was a dark night last night, and so yeah, that was something weird, I think, that came in from the extraction process in Graxpert. But I might look into that further and see. Usually the default settings with the AI just works. All right, so hey, thank you very much for hanging out and watching this video. I hope the processing of the Flaming Star Nebula was useful to you in some way, or helped you. Or if you have any questions, or if you've got ideas that you want to put down in the comments, and or if you notice anything that I could improve on, you know, certainly let me know. That's all cool. So anyway, if I've earned your subscription, you know, please hit that subscribe button, and share with your friends, and please leave a like. So thank you very much. My name is Doug, and this is AstroAF.